Hello. I wanted to go live and share some of the fall reset journal prompts, and especially because I just onboarded a brand new private client and I'm going to be giving her these prompts. I want to say these are prompts that you can really do whenever. But because we are entering a new season, because it is going to be the fall equinox in just a couple days, I wanted to take the time where people as a collective are kind of evaluating their lives, evaluating their years, being intentional, to throw some journal prompts into the mix that you can add in to any different fall reset practices that you might already be doing. And if you were not planning to do anything to reorient yourself and ground as the season changes, then I would encourage you to take some time, even if it's like 15 to 30 minutes, and reflect on these questions so that you can start to have that practice where you are integrating all of the growth that you have seen throughout the year so far, and then opening up to new expansive possibilities for the rest of the year. And I really like to have my clients do this. I teach this in my courses, and I really, this is something where if you're a part of my community, if you resonate with my work, incorporating some kind of quarterly reset, seasonal reset journal practice is going to be super beneficial for you, especially if you're on a manifestation journey and if you are already intentionally creating the trajectory of your life. Taking some time every couple of months to get quiet and ask yourself, like, where have I been so far? Where do I want to go? It's going to be super helpful. So without further ado, I'm just going to introduce each prompt and do a little like riff on why that prompt is important and what it will do for you. But I want to leave these prompts pretty open-ended as well, because I want you to take them in whatever direction you feel called. So I'll share a little bit on my perspective of the prompt, but if as you're journaling, your brain wants to go somewhere else, that is totally okay. The purpose of this is to really just invite yourself to carve out some time, maybe light a candle, maybe make a cup of tea, and ask yourself some important questions about your life. And I will say on the flip side, if you are really busy, if this is a season of your life where you have a lot of plates spinning, you have a lot going on, it is especially important for you to take time. Like I said, it can be 15 minutes, but really pour into yourself, because high levels of pouring out require high levels of pouring in. And you want to make sure that you're taking that time to refuel, not just physically, but also mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, so that the next decisions that you make in your business, in your relationships, in your career overall, in your housing search, in whatever it is that you're working on right now, the next decisions that you make will be more intentional and will be more aligned and will ultimately be more effective for you if you take the time to sit down and get quiet and ask yourself these questions. So, without further ado, question number 1 that I want you to journal on for a fall reset is, what have I created so far this year? So we are almost 9 full months into the year, and chances are, if you're like me, you've been going, putting stuff out into the world, creating, making choices, making moves, but you don't always take the time to stop and acknowledge how far you've come. And especially if you are an anxious person or a person who has a lot of negative self-talk, you might find yourself believing that you haven't done enough, that you haven't accomplished enough, especially if you set really big, audacious, ambitious goals at the beginning of the year, and maybe at this point in the year it doesn't look like you're going to make it to those goals. Your brain can start to convince you that you have accomplished nothing. And that's absolutely not true. And so even if you're only like 10% of the way to the goals that you set for yourself at the beginning of the year, I want you to take the time and acknowledge, what have I created? What have I done? What am I proud of? And make a moment to acknowledge how far you've come. And as you're doing this, I want you to look at the effort that you put in just as much as the response and the output and the results that you got back. So, for example, definitely acknowledge like the progress that you've seen externally. Like, I got this many new downloads on my podcast, and I'm seeing, this much of, gains in my fitness journey, and like the different like results that you're getting. Like, you want to make sure that you're keeping track of those and acknowledging those. And then you also want to look at, what is the effort that I put in? Psychologists have found that studying and really honoring and praising and celebrating the effort that you put into something is actually more beneficial than celebrating the results that you're getting. And this makes sense to me because in order to really see results, you have to be consistent. And in order to be consistent, you have to see the benefit and the value of the effort that you're putting in. And you have to make the effort an event in and of itself. So regardless of how many people watch this or listen to this, because I'm also going to put it on my podcast, regardless of how many people consume this, I know that it is really important for me to celebrate the effort, the energy, and the time that I am putting into actually creating this piece of content. And celebrating the effort, and someone who knows how to honor their work and knows how to honor the energy that they put into the things that they care about, those people are much more likely to succeed and to reach their goals in the end, because they see work and effort as important in and of itself. And so that is what you need to really understand in order to be consistent. And then again, you need to be consistent in order to see the external results, in order to get your goals. So question 1, what have I created so far this year? And then kind of under that, make sure you're acknowledging the results that you've gotten, but also acknowledge the effort that you put in. So how many videos did you post? And then how many YouTube subscribers did you actually get from that? And make sure that both of those things are honored and acknowledged. Okay, so from there, I actually want you to ask yourself, what has contributed to those successes? What has contributed to those wins? So if you have been really consistent with your workouts, let's say, what has helped you be consistent? And you want to really look at this. So not just like what's going well, but why is it going well? And that is what's going to allow you to actually succeed and to actually grow and to actually like continue to create those results and to make those results compound, is that you need to know what works for you and why. So if your win that you wrote down for question 1 is, I have, been consistent with my workouts 5 days a week for this entire year, then your next thing is why? Like, what has contributed to that? Is it because you are doing your workout first thing in the morning? For me, when I do my workout first thing in the morning, that is what actually makes it happen 5 days a week. If I do not work out first thing in the morning, it might still happen throughout the day, but the chances of me doing it go down significantly if I don't get it done first thing. So for you, what has contributed to your success? Like, what are the things that you're doing to support yourself in actually being successful? And then you can look the same thing for the external results. So if you celebrated that you had 1,000 new followers so far this year, why? Like, what has led you to have 1,000 new followers? Where did those followers come from? You can look back and see, like, okay, this post created this many followers, and this post created this many followers. And actually there were like 5 posts that created, 800 of those 1,000 followers, let's just say. And that is valuable information for you to have, because then you can start to see, okay, how can I build upon what's working? And that is the next question that I want you to look at in your fall reset is, how can I build upon what's working. So now that you know that doing certain things is contributing to your success, you want to really get curious, like, what can I do to amplify that? What can I do to really bring that kind of, what do I want to say? Like to bring that to the next level. So if, for example, let's use my workout example. So doing my workouts first thing in the morning is what allows me to work out 5 days a week. I already know that. What's one more step I can take to build upon that? I can lay out my workout clothes the night before. That will create even more momentum in my, daily morning workouts, making sure that I have my workout clothes clean and doing the workout, like laying my workout clothes out the night before, like that'll probably help me even more. And so question 1, what have I created so far? Question 2, what has contributed to that success? Question 3, how can I build upon what's working? Very simple, but very, very profound. And this is going to really help you make the most of the next couple of months, because you can really see this final season, this final quarter of the year as your time to do what you know works. And that is really the secret for why quarter 4 is typically the quarter where I see the most growth, where I kind of hit the ground running and where my business really picks up. And I sometimes, actually the past 2 years, I have made like almost, if not like even more money than I had made the first 9 months of the year. I was able to make all of that money in quarter 3 and quarter 4. That got a little bit convoluted, but basically I made money from January to September, and that was a certain amount. And then from October to December, I basically made that same amount, but in 3 months instead of 9. That has happened 2 years in a row so far, and I expect it to happen again this year. And that is really a testament to the fact that I look at the beginning of quarter 3, what have I been doing? Why has that been working? And then how can I build on that? How can I take that to the next level? And I spend quarter 3 really implementing what I learn in that journaling session, in that reflection session. So that is something that I really want you to look at. And then 2 bonus prompts, if you want to do more reflection, if you're feeling extra cozy, 2 prompts that you can also look at are, first of all, where ideally do you see yourself at the end of next year? So not at the end of this current year that we're in now, but 15 months from now, at the end of next year. Where do you see yourself? Where would you love to be? And you can look at different areas of your life. Where would you love to be in your career? Where would you love to be fitness-wise? Where would you love to be in your relationships? Like, what kind of relationship dynamics would you like to be in? And how would you like those relationships to feel? Where would you like to be in terms of your home? Would you like anything to be different about your home? Like, what are the changes that you would love to see over 15 months? So really thinking, somewhat long term about where you want your life to go. And then based on that, so your second bonus prompt is, based on that, what can you do this fall to prepare yourself for that? So what can you focus on in this next 3-month period, October, November, December, to really see a strong preparation, to create a strong preparation for those goals that you see for yourself next year? And so maybe there are systems that you need to put in place so that it'll be even easier for you to post consistently next year. Maybe there are some shifts that you want to start making to your nutrition or to your self-care habits, and you want to start like experimenting with those changes now so that next year you know exactly what you need to do, you know what you need to buy potentially, like you know how you need to adjust your life. But see this next 3 months as like the preparatory period, the period where you are getting your ducks in a row so that the next year hits and you are completely ready to hit the ground running, getting a head start basically on your next year's goals. Again, this is something that I really like to do with my private clients. I actually have one spot open for the remainder of this year. The doors to apply for that spot close. The last day to apply for that spot is the 30th of September. And we will work together for October, November, December. And a lot of what we're going to be doing is working on how we can build on your success already so far so that you can have a really strong end to this year. And then also, how can we get you a head start on your goals for next year? That is really the focus of this package. And a lot of the work that I do is via manifestation. So we'll be working a lot on your manifestation process, what works for you, what doesn't work for you, what adjustments can you make so that it works even better. Like, we're all doing this through the lens of manifestation, but really looking in the context of like having a really strong end to this year and having a really great head start to next year. And all of that is the work that we're going to be doing together in my coaching package. So if you are interested in working with me for 3 months time, you can DM me for the application. It's DM only. If you're on my email list, I will be emailing the application out to you. But if you are not on my email list and you want to apply, reach out to me and I will get you the application. And the application closes on September 30th. Of course, there is only one spot. So if the spot is full before September 30th, then the application will close earlier than that. But in any event, I am honestly so excited for us to be entering the fall, for us to be entering this cozy season of the year. And I want us to really balance the coziness with the ambition and with continuing to stay focused on our goals and doing some cozy intentional journaling about what's been going well and how we can build on that progress feels like a beautiful way to strike that balance. And if you like that balance, make sure that you stick around. I go live really frequently. I post podcast episodes, YouTube videos pretty frequently, and I'm always on shorts on TikTok and YouTube shorts and reels and everything. So tons of good stuff. If you're not on my email list already, what are you doing? Get on my email list. And I love you so much and I'm rooting for you and I hope you have a beautiful end to this year. Mwah. Take care and happy fall.